I've got to praise you like I do. I got to praise you. Yep. This is one of the songs that is in this episode, and it just got me in one of those moods because it wasn't until I rewatched it and where it was placed that it struck me the true meaning behind it. And yes, it's a throwback because we're still in 1999. So let's get into it. Welcome. My name is Lena. To all my OGs, mwah. To all my new subs, mwah. I hope that you enjoy this episode of Sex and the City, Season 2, Episode 17, the 20-something girls versus the 30-something women. We're getting closer. We got one more episode, and this is where the crash and burn starts to happen. This one was written by Darren Star. And it was kind of strange. I did enjoy it. I do remember enjoying it. I didn't pay too much attention except for one character, which is Charlotte. And we'll get into it. So let's set the scene. The scene opens with a Brady Bunch title card type of scenario where we have these people who are renting a summer rental in the Hamptons, the bane of our existence. And I say anybody who lives in Long Island. Okay, we'll get into that as well. If you have been on my channel, y'all all know how I feel about the Hamptons. Okay, but I won't get into it. I'll get into it soon. Okay, for those who don't know. Okay. So as the title cards are going and Carrie is narrating the difficulties of these 6 people who are renting this summer share cottage in the Hamptons, that one, a group of them are having interpersonal relationships. One is cheating on the other. One is fed up with another person's personality, as stupid as it is. One is confessing his feelings for someone else, though he's married, I believe, to another person. So this whole scene is set up that it's a very complicated situation, and that by the time August came around, they didn't want to go back to the cottage that they shared because it was uncomfortable. And that leads into who they called in order to take on the second half of the summer Hampton hell, which is Charlotte, because they all know, one of them knows Charlotte. Okay. And here's where we start to get a little fuzzy with Charlotte. I'll get into it when it gets to that point. So Charlotte, they're in the diner and she's telling them about what happened, and she wants the 4 of them to take over the balance of the rental for August to go spend the summer weekends at the Hamptons. And Miranda is a little protesty, shocking, that she feels that sharing a house with a group of people seems to be very juvenile. I'm going to give you my personal feeling about that. I don't mind sharing a house. I'd rather that than sharing a room. I have a pet peeve about having to share a room with someone, even with my closest friends, though I feel more comfortable with them. But I'm at that point, and even when back then it was like, I want my own room. I want to just be chillaxed, because I don't know your sleeping habits. I don't know if you snore. I don't want to know your sleeping habits. And I don't want to have to put a pillow over your head if you snore. It's just me. They could feel the same way about me. So a majority of my life, whenever I needed to go away, I've always made sure I'm able to have my own room if we do a group thing. And most of my friends agree. So it was kind of weird that she felt that the house itself was too much, too claustrophobic, I guess. I would have preferred a house. Now that you can do it with Airbnb, anybody can rent a house, right? So I'd rather have that scenario than having to share a hotel room or somebody else's room. So it was weird, but I kind of get her point. So Charlotte is saying that, oh, come on. I can't believe that we all cannot all be together for what could potentially be one last time that they're all together. Okay. Because you never know what's going to happen next year. And so Samantha goes off and says that, listen, my assistant Nina is actually renting a summer share in the Hamptons with 28 other girls. See, what? I didn't even realize it back then, like 28 other girls. So Carrie's like, so what happens? do they, and she's like, they sleep in shifts. And I think Miranda asked, well, what happens if they meet somebody? And Samantha's like, well, they F in shifts too. I couldn't even imagine in my 20s and my teens doing that. I just couldn't. I can't. That's a lot. I don't care how big that house is. Okay? That's a lot. And I'm sure it's not a big house because some of these mansions in the Hamptons are legit mansions. Like they're huge. Okay? There's a lot of little cottages there too, but there's a section of the Hamptons where it's huge. You know, like think South Miami, huge. Okay? So Charlotte is like still trying to convince them. And she says, you know, can we not just be together? Because at some point, maybe this time next year, one of us will be married, Charlotte. Because that's her agenda. Remember, Charlotte's agenda is to get married. I say this clearly so we understand what's happening here. Okay? And that maybe one of us will have kids. Still Charlotte, because I don't see this for any other three. Back then when I was watching it, and you know what happened. So as she is lovingly trying to express this to her friends, she somehow got to all of them, and they all agreed to go ahead and actually do the summer rental. Now, understand when I say summer rental, it's legitimately on the weekends only. Okay? It's not like they're there for the entire summer. They go back into the city, back and forth, and they spend the weekends up there. That's a thing. It's still a thing. Still a thing. Okay. So the next scene we have is Samantha is going into her office and her assistant Nina is on the phone cackling very, very rudely, disgusting. I don't know who she's talking to, but her language to this person on the phone is something that I would expect a 20-something-year-old to be. So Samantha is trying to get her attention and she is throwing things on her desk and saying, I need you to file these paperwork and get me so-and-so ASAP. And the girl's like, wow, I just had a flashback. I would never have done that. Maybe that's a problem. And mind you, this is 1999. I'm not talking about people who do this now. Okay. So if we think about it, she's 22 in 1999. She would be Samantha's ages right now. Well, back then. And she would have to deal with these people who are coming up now. And if we think that they were bad then, the ones that are coming out of college now, and no disrespect to anybody, okay? But y'all all know, you read, you know the news, you've dealt with them. They're a lot more arrogant now than I remember being back then, okay? And honestly, I've never seen anybody like this. Not in an office setting, not as a receptionist. So the girl Nina completely ignores Samantha, and she is going on the phone saying, oh, yeah, it's somebody I know. He has a place here and in South Beach, and yes, he's not gay because I know somebody who's effing him. And she's just talking vulgarity on the phone, and Samantha's like, and she's like, oh, yeah, I'm going to send you something, and if you don't like, I'm going to let you blow me. Whoa. I'm going to tell you something. That was pretty brazen back then to even speak like that in somebody's office. So I was still shocked when I saw this. So Samantha's had it. She tells her to get off the phone, and she tries to get off the phone. She goes, excuse me, I have to get off the phone now. Con cojones, bolas, grande, big balls of fire. Good golly, oh, big balls of fire. And she turns to Samantha. She goes, you know, I do have a life of my own, and I have my own clients. She goes, you can't talk to them, not my clients. Samantha's like, I don't think so. Okay. And she's like, I have my own career to think about. And Samantha tells her, and I'm paraphrasing people, you don't have a career. Your whole career is to be my assistant. And the girl looks up at her and says, you're so delusional. You wouldn't know what's hot if it wasn't for me. And Samantha tries to do a little retort. And the girl says, Samantha tells her, you don't understand the difference between you and me. And the girl, Nina, says, yes, I do. You stood online at Studio 54 I stood online at Studio 54, the movie. Coño. And that was a thing. I remember that movie because I wasn't in line in Studio 54. My mom was. Well, in theory, her generation, right? So I was too young to be in Studio 54. But when Studio 54, the movie came out, I saw it. I didn't go to the theater to see it, but I did see it because I don't know about you people, as far as your parents, and because remember, I'm 56. So I was born 1969 and 70s were the Studio 54 era, close to 80s. And it was huge. It was always in the news. You know, if you saw Saturday Night Fever, the movie, you know that it was, that was a thing. You know, it was like the clubs was the shit, and to get into it was nearly impossible. And Studio 54 is infamous for not letting people in the door. Okay. It was a thing. So when she made that reference, even back then, I was like, whoa. She was a little mean. And she storms out. So, and apparently she took Samantha's Rolodex. How Samantha didn't grab her by her pelos, her hair, or whatever the hell she's got going on her head, and dragged her back into the office and took that Rolodex, I have no idea. Because I would think that would be the first thing that she does. So, next scene. We're off to the Hamptons. We have Samantha, Carrie, and Miranda walking to take the biggest bane of my existence, of every Long Islander ever known, the Hamptons Jitney. It's a huge green bus with white lettering. And if you are a New Yorker, you know what the hell I'm talking about. And if you are a Long Islander and you've ever had to be on the Long Island Expressway, because it's a bus, it's a commercial vehicle, you can only take it on the Long Island Expressway, because there's different routes that you can take to Long Island, which is also the Northern Parkway and the Long Island Expressway. But if you've ever been, it doesn't matter, because I want to be clear about Long Island. It's an island that you can't get off. Okay? It's like Hotel California. You can get in, but you can never get out. Okay? This thing is a monstrosity. Along with all the other traffic. I'm not specifically, but this thing is annoying. Okay? Annoying. So, as they're walking and talking, Samantha is, upset about the fact that Nina was being Nina, and she took her Rolodex, and she feels like, can she sue her for taking that? And she's like, she doesn't understand that I'm it. And, Miranda's like, well, that's because society still praises women who are in their 20s to be better than the ones that are in their 30s. And, Carrie's like, doesn't she understand that we're still it? No, you're not. Once you hit your 30s, you're not. You're it-ish in the marketing, advertising, real world. I can't tell you that things have actually changed. They haven't. So, I don't know how anybody else feels, but, I haven't seen any difference now. And anybody that's in their 30s now, because my son is in his 30s, right? He's 30. I want to say in his 30s. And I met all his friends, and I met all his friends' girlfriends, and they all still have the same insecurities, the same, oh my God, I gotta get married. I have to have kids. They're still with the same crap that I was growing up with, that my mother grew up with, that we all grew up with. And when we look at the advertising, yes, it's gotten better in the sense that older women and people can now be more marketed to, other than pain medication. Okay. There is now, makeup lines for us and stuff like that. But when I was growing up, when you would see advertisements for makeup or anything like that, skincare, it would be marketed to women in their 30s, 40s, and maybe 50s, but they were 20-year-olds marketing it. And I never understood why I would want to buy into a skincare line, okay, marketed to older women, but not being older women in the marketing. It was a big thing. It was baffling to me. So as I'm listening to this, I'm like, holy shit, holy crap. I still feel that way today. It's been an improvement. There's more diversity, different sizes, different women, of people of color. I get that. but name a brand that you feel represents us. And I'm not talking about 30-year-olds. I'm talking about my generation. One person that pops into my head is Jones Rose Beauty, which is from Bobbi Brown. Her whole marketing for her new makeup line is all women in their 50s, 60s, and 70s. Okay. Olay is doing a much better job, though I've been an Olay girl since I was a little girl. L'Oreal, like it's happening, but and even clothing. And I think thanks to social media and YouTube and Instagram and TikTok and all the other madness that's going on, it has opened the door for the ability of people who are not supermodels, who are not models in general, and can be more diverse. Okay. And we are able to express ourselves differently. Like there's shopping halls, there's, try-ons, and we're not models. Back when we were growing up, we would have never seen anything of a size other than 2. Now it's all over the place. There's not a lot of great clothing, but it's doing better. So I just wanted to bring that up because when I saw this again now, I was like, whoa, I feel that. I still feel that. Like, I wish I could say that, wow, that was really dated. No, it's not. So as we get to the Hampton Jitney that everybody's lining up to take, mind you, for a weekend away, not the month, a weekend. Hold on. Charlotte, which is the most perplexing storyline of this entire episode, is coming up and she wants to introduce her new friend. I'm thinking, I don't know what to call him. And apparently she's introducing her to the girls. And, she tells them he's been coming up to the Hamptons every summer for 20 years. And the guy says, yes, since I was 6 years old. And then Miranda whispers to the girls, you do the math. And Carrie's like, yeah, I have. This guy's 26 years old. Now, here's my issue with this. What? I feel, as we get into this, that somebody in the writer's room really wanted to bring this storyline of Charlotte, or the storyline that what happens to Charlotte, no matter what. And the only person on that team, the girls, that could pass for maybe a mid-20s, close to 30s person in their mind was Charlotte. Because if you really think about it, how she goes about this entire thing is not the personality that we're accustomed to. She always dates with a purpose. Even if she does quirky things, and she has, as we've gone through this one was weird for me because I'm like, okay, this is way off Charlotte's radar. We've done a few things that Charlotte has been very questionable that I've said, hey, Charlotte's not the sweet little nice girl that we always think about. I feel like they're just trying to figure out the real Charlotte arc, but somebody really wanted to tell this specific story, and they had to find between the 4 of them who could physically pass this off. Because it's not going to be Samantha, and it's not going to be Miranda because she's too cynical and because she can't pass for 20-something. And Carrie neither, because this is not Carrie's MO, right? So tag you're it, Charlotte. Let's play along. So as they're getting into the Hamptons Jitney, 4 hours later, they arrive at the summer cottage. Now, can I just say that 4 hours is still, though it's long, they were lucky it was only 4 hours, because I have been to the Hamptons and it's taken me 6 hours from Manhattan. Okay. And you are better off, let's see, renting a horse and galloping your ass over there. You get there a lot faster. You can swim. People have swam oceans to other countries. You can swim. It would be a risk, but if you're a good swimmer, you can swim faster to the Hamptons than what it is to take the time to get to the Hamptons. And you're doing this for a weekend. That means that you got to do this reverse trip again by Monday, only to go back, if you're lucky, by Thursday, Friday. And the only people who make out in the Hamptons, really, you need a helicopter. That's it. Get a helicopter, you have a helipad, and you avoid all this madness. And those people do not take the jitney. Now, here are the classes of people that go to the Hamptons. There are the ones that have a helicopter. Okay. They're the ones who have a driver. They're the ones that drive. And then there's the ones that take the Hampton jitney. Okay. It's not the most elite thing to do. And if you are other than a helicopter and you have to be in the traffic between the jitney, the driver, the driving, the one that has a driver, the one that's driving, and the jitney, you're in hell. Because where I lived at that time should have only taken me 45 minutes door to door. I would be sitting in traffic for 4 hours just to get to my location. So her saying that they got there in 4 hours, I don't know what they did. They must have killed somebody along the way. So rent a horse or swim. Those are your options, people. Okay. As we get into the cottage, and Samantha is like, they market this as shabby chic. I'm thinking it's more like shitty chic. I love that. Shitty chic. I think that we should use that for many things that we see now. And, everything is molded, which is common because they're by the beach. And, Carrie's like, it's not mold, it's beachy. Okay, bitchy. Okay. This whole scene is set up so that the door knocks and Charlotte says it's the new guy that she met and that he is coming over to pick her up and that to everyone in the room, she's 27. And as we know, Charlotte no be 27. She more like be like 33, 34. Everyone's like, oh, okay. Did we take a time machine in the Hampton Jitney too? So 26-year-old boy toy who is so awkward. And I'm thinking I knew my son's friends at that age. They didn't seem that weird. So he really played this overly stupid. Says that they're having a bonfire tonight and they're all invited. And, Charlotte's answer is excellent. I don't remember excellent being done in 1999. Correct me if I'm wrong. That seems more like Ted and something's adventure. Excellent. And I don't remember that being in the 90s. I could be wrong. I'm old. Leave me alone. So now we're at the bonfire. Okay. And at the bonfire, Carrie has to tap a keg. And forgive me, guys, I have never been to a bonfire in my life. I've never tapped a keg. My 20s were way different than these people. Okay. So as she is trying to give the beers to the girls, Samantha's like, yeah, see, everybody here is really young and half of these guys don't even have chest hair yet. So even she drew the line of not having any young guys. Good for you, Samantha. Now stay away from married men and we'll be copacetic. So as they're looking around, one of the girls, because apparently part of this bonfire bark fest is these girls vomiting because I guess the beer was too much. And, as Carrie narrates, that's the one thing about 20-something girls. They're always there for you when you need to throw up. And this will come back later, as we all know. So she tells the girls, okay, I'm going to tell Charlotte, who's making out with 26-year-old as if she is a child. Okay. I don't know what the hell Charlotte's doing in this episode. Like, this really confused. Like, I'm trying to remember this, but this really was confusing to me. And, as she's walking away, we have Carrie's first groupie who is like, oh my God, Carrie Bradshaw. And I swear to God, this girl looked like she was 17. If she was pushing 18, it was a lot. And she is gooing and gowing over her, saying, I follow your column. I think that you're amazing. And I'm a student of writing, and I would love to be able to send you my writing if you could have the time to read it. And Carrie's like, yeah, sure. Okay. And she's like, oh my God, to have someone like you to be my mentor. And Carrie's like, mentor. She's like, how old do you think I am? I know that's what she was thinking. Okay. And she's like, oh my God, thank you. And here's my number. And what do you need me to do for you? And, she goes, well, I'm going to be really busy this summer. So, okay, I'll try. She goes, do you want me to, how do you want me to help you? You want me to cook, clean, rub your feet, give you an acid wash? I'm sorry. I mean, I heard of groupies. I will never be of the elite to have a groupie. You're my groupies. Please don't offer to acid wash me or anything like that. Just watch and subscribe to my channel. Subscribe. That's it. That's all I ask. Nothing else. So she's like, oh no, please, you don't have to do any of that. I'll do it. And, she gives her number, and that's it. We now have a 25-year-old, 18-year-old looking groupie that's totally wants to praise her like she does, because that's the song that's playing when they meet. And that's when I made the connection. I want to praise you like, yeah, I was like, oh, metaphors. Got it. I don't know if that was the intention of Darren Star, but I'm going to give him the credit because I'm going to miss Darren in his writing because he'll be leaving soon. It's coming. I'll let you know when it happens. So the next scene we have is Carrie is back at home in her apartment because the weekend's over. No, I could be wrong. No, it's the morning. Okay, before we get to the weekend being over, it's the morning, and Miranda wants to go out and just enjoy the scenery of the Hamptons and the deck. We don't really see much of what she's looking at, so she opens the screen door and she gets upset because somebody puked on the deck as she starts to scream when she walks in, and all of a sudden Charlotte pops out of the, I'm not going to call it a sofa because it wasn't, okay? And she's like, oh, so-and-so was drinking too much last night. And Miranda gets pissed off. And she's like, what are you, 25 now? And then Boy Toy pops up and she says, no, I'm 27. I don't know who the hell this girl is. What is the purpose of this relationship? Or even one night stand, or even stand, okay? And Miranda's like, whatever, okay? So we're back at Carrie's house because the weekend's over, okay? So as she is going through her memoirs of pictures, she's narrating, what is it like to be in your 20s again? Great skincare, no care in the world. Everything is wonderful except for a few things. Like also the cons are bad apartments that I can concur. I moved out when I was 18. And bad fashion choices. Yeah, it was the 80s. Oh, it was rough. We didn't have a really, and then the 90s came and grunge and hammer pants. Oh my God. And oh my God, shoulder pads. I remember the shoulder pads. Oh my God. I remember going to the office. Everybody was talking about shoulder pads. Wow. And the hair. Everybody had big hair. Big hair. The hairspray industry was never recovered from the loss of the 80s and the 90s. It couldn't be. You don't understand. Have you seen the pictures? Go look. Okay. I remember that. I didn't do that. I was more into the salt and pepper, short hair, pixie cut, stuff like that. I didn't get it, but I was into it. So as she is thinking about all of this stuff, she is saying, what's the difference between 20-something girls and 20-something women? That's it. That's the tagline of the day. So now we've set the scene of what is going to happen next. So, you following me? We've got Charlotte. Y'all don't have to tell me what's going on with Charlotte. Okay. I don't know, because I was never with younger men. Really, I've never was. We have not too much for Samantha, but she's there. We have Miranda, who is kind of sort of there. And then we have Carrie and what's going to happen to her next. If you're enjoying this and you haven't yet subscribed and you want to and you're thinking about it, don't. Just do me a favor. Hit that notification, subscribe button. I suck at saying the whole thing, so I'm just going to say it the way I always say it. Subscribe. Stay tuned. Part 2, Sex in the City, episode 17, season 2. Let's do this. So we're still in the city, and this time Carrie is going to a book signing, and she's decided to take her, groupie. I'm going to call her Creepy Teepee, and to start off this mentorship that she's going to take on. And the girl is so excited because she can't believe she's there with Carrie Bradshaw, and Carrie's like, "Oh, stop it!" And I'm like, "Oh, please stop it." So, she asks Carrie, does she think that at 25, she's too young to write a memoir? And Carrie's like, well, as long as it's not, let me see if I get this right, Prozac, incest, and partying, you should be okay. Now, if I'm going to read a book from a 25-year-old and not one of those 3 things are in there, I'm going to ask, why am I reading your book then? Isn't that the whole purpose? Because you went through those 3 things, but that's just me. I don't know about you. Okay? Just saying. So she's like, no, it's about sex, or the fact that not having sex, and holding it until marriage. And Carrie turns around. She goes, holding what for marriage? She goes, our virginity. And Carrie's like, you mean to tell me that you're 25 years old and you haven't had sex yet? She goes, no, we're holding it for marriage. And she's like, okay, but wait, what do you consider sex? And Creepy Teepee says, well, what do you think I am? Some sort of Lewinsky? That's never going to go out of style. Sorry, it's not. Okay? Oh my God. So she's like, no hand jobs, no BJs. And Carrie's like, okay, I got it. No jobs whatsoever. I need a drink. I was like, so do I. If only I could drink. So she's like, wait, I'll get it for you. A Cosmopolitan? I remember from your column. And that is why groupies are creepy teepees. Because I get that you are, infatuated by the people that you admire. But oh my God, she's a little way off pendulum. Okay. So as she's walking to get the drink, Carrie narrates that, she is right now dealing with the fact that she has a 25-year-old virgin getting her a Cosmopolitan. And then in comes who I'm going to call Hannibal Lecter. Hello, Clarice. This guy, okay, shows up and says, hello, have you read the book? And she goes, no, I haven't. Do you know the author? He goes, yeah, I know that his family has a history of diabetes and he has something with his splinter in his femur. And Carrie's looking at him perplexed. I'm like, my hair started to stand up. He goes, I'm his doctor. That is one way to say that you're a doctor. Not creepy at all. At all. And he's like, yeah. And she's like, oh. And, he's flirting. She's not picking up that he's flirting. And he's like, I would invite you out for a drink, but I'm driving up to the Hamptons tonight. And she says, oh, that's okay. As she hesitantly says, I'll be up there, tomorrow. He goes, great. Can I meet up with you? And she's like, he's like, can I get your number? Can I meet up with you? And she's like, well, this is where the New Yorker starts to kick in, I would think, and be like, run. But no. She says, I'll be at the beach under a big yellow umbrella. You can meet me there and say hello. He's like, okay. So Hannibal Lecter is still trying to figure out how to get her alone. Is anybody else creeped out by this guy? It's no disrespect to the actor, but oh my God. So, he's insisting on meeting up with her and getting her number. And he goes, oh, what if it rains? How do I get in touch with you? And she's like, oh, you're so persistent, you serial killer. She didn't say that, but that's how I felt. And she's like, fine, I'll give you my number, as she writes it in the book. And he goes, so now I'm going to have to buy the book. Hmm. It's the weekend. And it's the day that Hannibal Lecter is going to meet up with her on the beach under the big yellow umbrella. And it didn't rain. And we have Charlotte, who's out into the water with 26-year-old. We have Miranda and Samantha and Carrie wondering, when did tanning come back in, as the 20-something-year-old girls are on the beach tanning themselves with no protection. And Samantha's like, when did tanning come back into fashion? Hand me over the 45 sunscreen. And let's just say that Samantha is wearing heels on the beach. I have always been so perplexed on why women wear heels on a beach. She looks great, but it's weird. So as she's slathering on the sunscreen, you know, she's saying that, you know, we're watching Charlotte out in the water with 26-year-olds swinging her around as she's like she's a volleyball. And she's like, yeah, I'm like, who the hell is this? And, you know, they're laughing at her, saying that, you know, she actually wanted to put on oil. She put on oil instead of sunscreen, and that, you know, she's going to pay for that because eventually she's going to look like a 27-year-old leather bag. As this is happening, Hannibal Lecter shows up and tells Carrie, oh, yellow umbrellas seem to be very popular on the beach. You scared the shit out of me. And, you know, she introduces him to the girls, and Samantha's like, ooh, what kind of doctor are you? He's like, internal medicine. And I'm like, ooh, that just means that he knows how to chop you up into pieces internally. And she's like, oh, and what kind of meds can you prescribe? And Samantha's like, ignore her. Well, Carrie's like, ignore her. And he goes, I doubt if I could. Mm-hmm. You're next. Stay awake. Stay awake. So, you know, he's like, yeah. So I'm gonna go take a dip and promise not to leave. And Carrie's like, no, I won't. I'll be right here, waiting for you to chop me up. You internal medicine Hannibal Lecter, doctor. I cannot be the only one that felt this way when you saw this episode. Please drop a comment down below. If I'm crazy, I don't care. I don't care. I don't. So now we have her, you know, looking at him as he's, you know, running in the beach, and he is not the most attractive person, but that just doesn't negate the fact that he's scary looking. Just aggressiveness. And, you know, Miranda's like, oh, is that the guy you met at the book signing? And she goes, yeah, but I'm not sure if I'm that into him. And Miranda and Carrie, Samantha, I can't even get these girls straight. Oh my God, I'm so sorry. Samantha's like, well, you know, he's a doctor and he has a house in Hampton. And then Miranda's like, good on paper. This is the first time I ever heard of this. And she's like, yeah. And, you know, Samantha's like, well, you know what that means? Good on paper means bad in bed. Never heard of that before. Because then Carrie narrates, the good on paper guy is the guy that has his shit together. I'm paraphrasing. But eventually you leave him for somebody that's hotter with a motorcycle and no checking account. So I guess the good guy versus the bad boy. This is why men act and feel the way that they do. Though what happens with this guy is a little bit different. He's good on paper until he starts stabbing at you. I'm not going to let this go. Okay? So Miranda's like, Charlotte comes back from her twirling session at the water. And, you know, she's like, oh my God, you girls should go into the water. It feels so good. Like a 27-year-old ding dong. I don't know who this person is. This is not Charlotte at all. Doesn't fit her. I don't like it. It just was very uncomfortable. And Miranda's like, okay, listen, I'm going to go out to the market, and should I get anything for you? And she's like, yes, you should get some rum so we can make Long Island iced teas. And, you know, 26-year-old boy toy says, hey, score. Like, what 1980s movie did I fall into when I saw the scene? I don't know. Weird. Okay. So now we're back at the beach, and this time Carrie is walking with Hannibal Lecter. And he is talking about, I took the initiative to make, reservations at a very difficult restaurant. And she's like, oh, well, I can't leave my friends. Stay with your friends. And he's like, oh, no, I'm sorry. I wasn't insinuating for us. I was just giving you restaurant chit chat. And she goes, oh, he goes, no, I was. Red flag? You psychopath? Mental manipulation. And he's like, how about tonight? You can come over to my house as I stab you to death and then eat you. Sorry. And I have a beautiful cottage and you can hang out on the deck. And she's like, oh, I don't know. And then he turns around and says, okay, how about this? How about I call you on the weekend on your in case of emergency number? The emergency being that I think I'm going to miss you. What? How are you going to miss her? You just met her. Are we not? This is what? And Carrie narrates that my good on paper guy is so romantic. No, he's a psychopath. He gonna kill you, Clarice. He's gonna kill you. Blah, Clarice. Run. Run, Forrest. Run. I am not exaggerating. I don't care how many TV shows that I watch, like Who the Bleep Did I Get Married and, Stalker Killer, and I don't care. I don't care. I'm not wrong. Right? Okay, got it. Next. Okay, so we're back at the cottage. The girls come in as Miranda is cooking in the kitchen. And, Miranda is stating to the girls that, I got fresh seafood and corn for us tonight. But unfortunately for you, Carrie, your creepy teepee cannot stay. And she's like, my creepy teepee is here? She goes, yes. And she was asking too many questions. So I sent her up to your room. And Carrie's like, well, thanks. I'm like, yeah, thanks, Miranda. You don't see the signs of creepy teepee? She looks innocent, but she could be another crazy one. We don't know. Why do people invite people they don't know? You don't understand. Nobody comes to my house until I know you. You need to be vetted. You need to be vetted. I don't let anybody come to my house. It don't work that way. Sorry, it doesn't. Okay? Yes, I'm cynical. Yes, I'm a New Yorker. And because I am a New Yorker, I know better. Okay? And then you send them to my room. I don't care if it's a rented house. Get out. This is how the horror movies, this is probably why I don't like horror movies. Why do you white people always do this? Explain to me. Explícame. Okay? So Charlotte's like, oh, I had to go take a shower because I feel real itchy from all the sand. And she's like, I'll come back down and help you. Mm-hmm. Now I'm beginning to see what happens to Charlotte. Sign 1. And then Miranda tells Samantha that something came for her in the mail or dropped off, and she opens up a rolled paper and Samantha starts to scream and Miranda's like, what is it? She goes, it's an invitation to the Hamptons Hamptons hoedown. I'm going to say hoedown. Yeah, some country crap with hats. And it's from her ex-assistant, Nina, who invited her because it's the Hamptons hoedown. That's what it is. And that's something that, normally she would handle. But this time Nina is doing it and she's upset and she's using her Rolodex for all the invitations. So they're invited to the Hamptons hoedown. Okay. So we have Samantha upset about Nina. We have Carrie dealing with creepy teepee. And we have Charlotte taking a shower because she's a little itchy. Mm-hmm. As we pan upstairs, we have now creepy teepee giving Carrie a pedicure. Because I thought that Carrie said that she didn't need to do anything for her. So I don't know how she got her to do her feet. And creepy teepee is expressing to Carrie that, she feels that the prior generation has desensitized sex so much that it's not even special anymore. And that when she was 15, which was like 3 minutes ago, that she read all of Jackie Collins' books, and she just said one day, I don't understand this. I don't understand why we have to wag our vajayjays to every stud that comes by. And Carrie's like shocked, and I'm like, what the hell? I get that you want to save your virginity, but again, it could be just me. I'll stand alone. The cheese will stand alone. None of this seems right. So before she, Carrie asks her, so what is it that you like about my column? Before this creepy teepee can answer, Charlotte comes running out of the bathroom saying that she has a tick on her stomach and that she can't get it off. And Carrie asks, oh, does it hurt? She goes, no, but it's itchy. And creepy teepee looks at her stomach and she goes, oh, honey, that's not a tick. And Charlotte's like, what is it? And the next thing we have is a bunch of crabs being thrown into the hot water, which is the seafood that Miranda purchased. And we come to find out when Charlotte is running down the stairs, she goes, she's disgusted. And Miranda's like, where is she going to Carrie? And she goes, well, she is back in her 20s. She's got crabs from 26-year-old. Do you know the level of disgustingness that has to take in order to just continue to provide that service to other people? You're going to tell me this guy didn't realize that he has crabs and he's just spreading around as if it is catch fish of the day? Oh my God. I can't believe it. I couldn't believe it. Like, I was like, wow. So this is also set up for the next scene, which is now, because of this incident, Carrie calls Hannibal Lecter to go to spend the evening at his cottage on the deck because she's so creeped out because she had crabs in her 20s and she can't be around anything like it and she can't go back until everything is sanitized. Can we go back to the fact that she had this as well? I never had any of this. I'm lucky. I have to say I am. Are you? Whew. Just everything about this. So, he's like, well, I'm glad you thought of me because now I can take you into my lair and kill you. Yes, I'm paraphrasing. Well, those were my words. Sorry. So he's like, I can give a prescription to, Charlotte. She goes, no, I think she can take care of herself. And then they start looking out into the stars and she looks at him and he turns around and he says, you're probably going to have to spend the night. Where did we infer this? And she's like, yeah. Like, Carrie? What the? Nena, por favor. For that, take the Hampton Jitney and go back. Rent a car. Fly. Take the horse. Gallop your way back to the city. You're really going to sucker into this stupidity? And she's like, but no funny business. And he's like, he turns around, he says, that all women say that. And then when the lights come off, they're all going for my pajamas. No, they're all trying to get out of the house. You murdering psychopath. The next scene we have, excuse me. The next scene we have is she's in the bed with him because in this entire cottage, there is no other place to sleep. Not on the couch, not on the roof, not on the deck. Apparently, the only room that he has is the bed that he's in with her. And they're separated. And she turns around and she, says, it was nice that they slept in a bed that didn't do anything. And this is the first time that crabs may have actually moved a relationship forward. Get relationship, Nana. Get relationship. You got this maniac telling you he's going to miss you and he just met you 3 days ago. And now you're in a relationship? Mind-boggling. So, time for the Hamptons hoedown. So as poor Samantha, Charlotte, and Miranda are walking through the hoedown, she is noticing that people are at this party that are not even going to the parties that she has done before, that Nina's gotten a hold of her book and they're showing up to this party. And as she grabs some food off somebody's plate, she's depressed and she tries to walk away. And the girls ask her, where are you going? She goes, well, I'm going to go and say hello to Nina because one day she may have to give me a job. Way to go, Samantha. I mean, it's a little extreme, but I give her credit. So off goes Samantha. Now we have Charlotte, who's on a warpath to catch her crab. I said it. She sees Crab Boy up on the landing talking to another girl because I guess it's over. I don't know what happened here. And he sees her looking at him and he tries to escape. And she finds him on the stairwell because I don't know where he was going to escape when he saw her moving in the direction that he was going, where he was going to fly over the landing. And she's like, excuse me. And he's like, crap. And she's like, you gave me crabs. And he's like, how do you know it was me? She goes, don't be so juvenile. He goes, excuse me, but I may have given you crabs, but you deceived me. I saw your age on the license that you provided when we bought the drinks. And she's like, I didn't deceive you. You just inferred something and I just didn't correct you. He goes, again, you deceived me and that's way worse. And she's like, whatever. I'm like, so you're comparing the possibility of you giving her crabs to her lying about her age? Yeah, sounds about right. Sounds about what a 20-something-year-old crab-infested maniac would say. Again, I have no clue what the storyline is for Charlotte. I don't know who this happened to in the writer's room, but clearly it needed to be in this episode for a specific reason to spread awareness. Don't fish where you don't belong. Sure. So the next scene we have is Samantha is saying hello to Nina, her ex-assistant, and she's like, oh, you can't believe you came. Mwah, mwah. Yes, I just came to wish you luck, because this whole thing is starting to melt into a really bad pot. So as she's saying, oh my God, you're so cool, I guess this chick shows up who happens to be Nina's assistant, who's the age of her. I don't know. She's all, I'm going to say, overly expressive, and that, we ran out of this. Somebody got stuck with a cactus plant, and there's people in the party who don't even have an invitation and not even on the list. And Nina screams at her, you're coked out. And the girl screams at her, you're just jealous. And all of a sudden, all of the fireworks are happening, and Samantha is already sneaked out to just hear what's happening to this, public meltdown from Nina. And she's screaming at her, I guess, assistant. And she goes, oh my God, this was not supposed to happen until whatever. And you need to stop this. This is your fault. And she goes, well, I can't because they're on a barge. And Nina realizes that she has no control of this situation or party. And she turns to Samantha, who steps away, overhearing what's happening. She goes, oh, Samantha, can you please help me? Can you get people out? Because the fireworks, because I can imagine the fireworks are not cheap. And Samantha, firework fiesta, everybody out into the whatever. She handled it like a freaking pro. She got them all out to go watch the fireworks, despite the fact that she didn't like this 27-year-old bitch. Good for you, Samantha. And this is why I love her. Because she knows when it's time to do what. She stayed around lurking, and she knew that eventually this bitch was going to come back and ask for help. So as that happens, Crab Boy comes up, and Samantha introduces her to Nina and says, I think that you two are going to be great together. And she looks at him, oh, really? And he scratches his balls, and they walk away because apparently he still has crabs, as I said, and he's never taken care of the situation. But Samantha knew how to take care of it. That's my girl. Can we just do a show on Samantha? Because she's the show. Okay. The moment that I've been regretting. So now we have Carrie, who's smoking outside, and we have Creepy TP coming up to her. Oh my God. Look at me. I got the same necklace as you. She got a necklace like Carrie. And Carrie's like, oh yeah, okay, whatever. Listen, I'm going to go find my date, Dr. Hannibal Lecter. And I'll see you later on. And she goes, okay. And Carrie narrates that, okay, 20-something-year-olds, annoying, yes, but they're more like our doppelgangers who just need help, mentoring. And this is where it ends for Carrie. As she turns around, I'm going to try to do this without crying. She sees Mr. Big with her nemesis the first time we meet, Natasha. She is stunned as she sees them together talking in a corner. And she walks up to him and she says, is it really you? And he says, oh my God, Carrie, what are you doing here? And she's like, huh? Uh-huh. And she goes, oh, I want to introduce you to Natasha. And Natasha says, oh my God, I've heard so much about you. What in earth he can possibly be saying about Carrie? We never really know. But apparently he talks about her a lot. And she goes off to, I guess, to get a drink and leaves them alone. And Carrie, I have to say, SJP did a really good job in the scene. She's stunned and she looks up and she goes, I'm just surprised. And he goes, yeah, Natasha has a house here with her family and we came up for the weekend. And she's like, okay, so are you here from Paris for the weekend? He goes, no, the Paris deal fell through. The look on her face. He goes, I was gonna call you. And she goes, oh, okay. And I'm trying not to get emotional about this. And she's like, so, you know, I meant to call you. And she goes, well, things, happen. I'm actually here with a date, Dr. Bradley Hannibal Lecter, good on paper, probably like Natasha, nice, sweet murderers. Um, mhm. And she's like, so how old is Natasha? And Big says, I don't know, 26. Please understand this man is 43 years old at this time. And she goes, oh, 26? That's nice. Well, okay, fine. I'll either see you in the Hamptons or I'll see you back in the city. And she is walking away and he's like, I meant to call you. And he just looks out and at that moment, I never hated somebody so freaking much in my life. The pain that I felt from SJP's moment. This is Darren Star writing. I knew exactly how she felt at that moment. There was no gray area at all. Kudos. That was painful. And back in 1999, I was like, is it over? I don't know why they brought him back for one scene, maybe to propel her into something else, but we all know what happened. So even though I still watch it now and it still gets me and I know what happens inevitably, this was a moment. This was a moment. Okay. And as we see her running to the beach, we have Miranda chasing after her. She goes, Carrie, are you okay? And these are the moments again that bonded these girls together. And she tells them, I just saw Mr. Big and he's with a 26-year-old. And Miranda's like, where? I didn't see him. And then Carrie starts to throw up and Miranda holds her hair so she doesn't get it in her hair. I'm going to start to well up. And, because those are moments that you do with your friends, because I don't like vomiting at all. It's disgusting. Okay. So as she looks up, she comes back up, she narrates that, 20-somethings are not so bad until you see them with someone that's the love of your life. And that's it. Epilogue. Wow. So there's no direct tie into And Just Like That because everything that happens in this series forgoes that. We have very good writing with Darren Star, who knows how to write a moment. We have the delivery of each of these characters and how they know how to give expressions and pain and how it flows through the camera, which is something that's very important as well, because like I said, it's symbiotic. You have to have good writing and good actors, and that's very, very lacking in this Hollywood. And if you guys have not followed me watching All's Fair, the Kim Kardashian debacle, I really highly recommend that you do, because this show And Just Like That and All Fair is neck and neck on winning on being the worst show I've ever seen in my life. And it's all from these writers who don't know how to write effectively and not being able to effectively get out from the actors to know how to deliver it. So Darren wrote this. I think he did a very good job, except I still don't understand the whole Charlotte thing. I really strongly believe that the purpose of Charlotte was because there was a story in the writer's room and they needed to get this out, because this was completely not Charlotte's bag, right? Like, we've seen her do crazy stuff, but she's not going to run around with a 26-year-old guy just to have a summer fling. That's not her thing, but it's in the ethers. We have to see it, okay, it's there. I thought that Samantha's, acceptance and how she was able to pull it together as a professional and take care of her business and help someone else was important. I do feel that the whole, creepy teepy thing was with the groupie was necessary because it shows the difference between the 20 something and the 30 somethings. But I could have done away with that entire storyline and not given her a rat's behind, because she didn't make a dent to me at all, other than being overly too young to be playing a 25-year-old. Okay. So these are the moments that I miss in Just Like That. The moment where Miranda is helping Carrie vomit, and these are things that they don't do anymore, and there was a connection that was always lost, as I said 100 million times. So tell me how you felt about this. And let's just say Hannibal Lecter, we never see him again, because apparently the evening, and then she was on a date, and then she was in the vomiting situation. We never see, he never comes back. Thank God. I didn't like him at all. Again, this is not the actor, but kudos for the writing. I read in between the lines. I felt that way the minute I saw him. He was too aggressive. He was too in your face. I miss you and all this other stuff. I'm like, dude, what is wrong with you? If you're a doctor, ugly or not, you shouldn't be this way with somebody. Like, you want this way too much. Okay. And I didn't like it. The good on paper stuff, sure. I've never heard of that before, but it always stuck with me. So this was a very good episode, and I'm going to miss Darren. I have a feeling I'm going to miss him. Because I'm paying attention more to who are writing these scripts as we go through each episode. And there's a few more that come up. There's a lot more that come up that I'm curious to see if Michael Patrick King wrote them or somebody else did. And we're going to keep track of that. So again, thank you everyone for watching. I hope that you are keeping up with me on In All's Fair. I really would appreciate that, because this falls in line with the descent of what's happening in Hollywood itself. Between all of the shenanigans that are happening, between Netflix buying HBO Max, which is what this show is going to be now on, if it goes through the buyout, and how streaming is a very different landscape from when we were watching television that was more Nielsen ratings centric, and the crap that's being funneled to us as content and the money that's flowing to make these productions is even scarier. Okay. Because you don't need to worry about ratings anymore. You just need to put ads and wait for subscriptions, which is what we are paying for. And I would love to have some sort of conversation or do something, which I'm going to talk about it in another video, about what is happening here and why we are being fed this minutia, because I can deal with it just like crap to an extent, but now we have All's Fair. So take a look at that video. Tell me how you felt. Tell me how you felt about this video. Did I get it right? Did you get the heebie-jeebies from Hannibal Lecter? How did you feel about any specific, and were you as confused about Charlotte as I was? Because that was very confusing to me. So thank you. I reached 1,050 subs. I was going for 1,000 by the end of the year. And not only did I exceed it, I exceeded it by 50, and it's growing. I don't know how, but I cannot appreciate every single person that has pushed, hyped, commented, shared, liked, subscribed. I'm truly humbled, because I really didn't expect for this to happen, to be honest with you. I was saying it out there, putting it out there into the universe, saying, okay, I can hit 1,000 here. And I didn't realize that it was actually going to happen. So I am really humbled, everybody, that you really helped with this and that this is getting out more. Oh my God. I know new viewers are going to be like, why is this girl crying? You need to go check out my other videos. I'm a little bit of a crybaby. Okay. So we have a lot of new stuff coming up for the new year. We have the last episode of this season, and then it's going to be a year-end recap and review. And then we're going to start the new year with the year 2000 Sex and the City and everything that happened in the year 2000, which for most of the OG people is one of the favorite parts of my videos. So let's gear up. It's the holidays. I wish you happy holidays. I'm trying to get out the video of my favorite holiday movies. So hopefully I can get it out this week so you guys can, chime along with me. So I want to thank everyone. I want you to have a blessed day, evening, weekend, week, holiday season, from here to around the world that I reach. Have a beautiful, beautiful, blessed day. Thank you. Goodbye.